We're going live to Caracas, Venezuela, where the Supreme Court of Justice is holding hearings with former candidates of the elections of July 28th in the country. At this moment, the Supreme Court of Justice Electoral Chamber is receiving representatives from parties that supported former candidate Luis Eduardo Martinez from the Democratic Action, and also in this context earlier today, the highest judicial authority received also representatives from right-wing organizations, among whom were Zulia Governor Manuel Rosales from a New Time Party, Jose Cartaya from the Democratic Unity Roundtable, and Jose Calzadilla from the Movement for Venezuela. Let's recall that none of them presented either evidence or records to the judges. A few minutes ago also, the Supreme Court of Justice welcomed representatives from the party that supported former candidate Jose Brito from the Venezuela First Movement. Today, Edmundo González, who was a candidate for the Democratic Unity platform, did not appear at the hearing in the Supreme Court of Justice Electoral Chamber, where he was expected to present the voting records from the presidential elections held on July 28th, thus disobeying an explicit mandate from the Supreme Court. According to the failure to appear before the electoral chamber, this action will have the consequences provided for in our current legal system, the Supreme Court President Carisia Rodriguez warned when she sent the subpoenas to the political parties. Let's recall that in this context, the extreme right registered for elections and put up election witnesses, but since before the electoral process, like several months ago, Edmundo González had already announced that he would sign fraud in these elections. And afterwards, the election took place on July 28th. The far-right candidate, after realizing they would not win, they chose to promote violence with the intention of starting a civil war. We can see the Supreme Court President Carisia Rodriguez taking seat in the courtroom, while representatives of the former candidates to the elections are appearing before the highest authority, the highest judicial authority of the country. This is a process that took place after the action presented by the Venezuelan president-elect Nicolás Maduro, who asked the Supreme Court for a thorough investigation of the presidential elections to clear any accusations of fraud promoted not just by the far-right wing of the country, but also by media campaigns through social networks from abroad. All electoral instruments in the political parties must be presented before the Supreme Court of Justice, something that several candidates have failed in doing so. For example, Edmundo González, my pardon. Today it is also expected the appearance of representatives from parties that supported former candidate Luis Eduardo Martinez from the Democratic Action. The intentions of the far right to tarnish the election results. We were live to Caracas, Venezuela, where the electoral chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice is holding hearings at this moment with former electoral candidates of the July 28th as part of the judicial investigations into the electoral process, an inquiry requested by re-elected President Nicolás Maduro. This is all for the moment. Stay tuned with From the South.